and welcome to Citation Needed, a podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and I'll be hosting this party, and I'm joined by four guys who look like the premise of a joke when they walk into a bar: Cecil, Noah, Tom, and Eli.
As long as it isn't in Edinburgh, I think it'll be a good joke. It'll be a good one.
We're more of a joke when we order at the bar, right? It's like one beer, 3 waters, and a plate of tofurkey jerky or something. Yeah.
Jokes keep on coming. Yeah.
Actually, the joke's on you, Heath, because I look like a joke no matter where I go.
It's fair.
Oh, there you go.
I'm the rabbi.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a vaguely anti-Semitic joke until Eli explains. It's cool. It's cool. All right. There he is. Cool. All right, Noah.
Hey, podcast listener.
Let's just go right in. No, we're going to go right into it. We're going to go right into it. All right. Noah, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event are we going to be talking about today?
Today, we're talking about history's most expensive party.
All right. So what was history's most expensive party?
It was a multi-day affair that took place from October 12th to the 14th of 1971. It was hosted by the Shah of Iran in a desert venue near the tomb of Cyrus the Great and marked the 2500th anniversary of the Persian Empire, which, if you think about it, is a really fucking weird thing to throw history's most lavish party over. Right? It's like it's not a birthday. It wasn't a coronation. It wasn't an anniversary of his reign. It wasn't a wedding. And it wasn't even a date that could be pinned down with any kind of historical certainty. Nobody knows for sure what year the Persian Empire began, let alone what fucking day. And yet, the party took the title for history's most expensive back in 1971, and it's held that title for 54 years and counting. You barely even have to account for inflation.
Man, if the 25th anniversary is a silver one, the 2500th anniversary is like a 9-carat singularity, or you're cheaping out.
You hear that, Anna? If you're listening, I'll take our 25,000th anniversary off. I'll sleep in, I promise.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So first we have to tackle the why of it all, because as extravagant as this thing was, I don't think it could fill a whole episode. So we're going to open with a bit of that dreaded context.
Oh, I know this one. It's because you've been reflecting lately on the intersection between the celebration of empire and colonialism and how the inevitable decline of empire mirrors and perhaps even portends the annihilation of
either way.
Not just your own personal soul, but the very soul of humankind itself, and that the party is really a metaphor for the desperate last gaspism of a sort of cultural midlife crisis.
It's like he's punching you with a poem.
No, so... Tom, it's good. But it's good to know that you're ready to tag in.
I
if
got you,
need
buddy.
You.
I got
right,
you.
Yeah.
I got
Don't
you.
need a speaking stick.
Word count brothers. Word count brothers.
So, but for me, I feel like if you want to understand why the Shah would pour a huge percentage of the kingdom's wealth into a made-up anniversary, you have to understand how he came to power. And for that, we have to rewind all the way back to World War II.
Feels like we've been doing that for a while, am I right?
Yeah.
Our nation has fallen to fascism.
It has, yeah. Now, it's worth noting here that
Women be shopping.
that Iran was not allied with Germany during World War II. But their leader, Reza Shah Pahlavi, did have strong ties with Germany, and it was generally perceived by the Allied powers to be sympathetic to the Nazis. And that was enough to merit an invasion if you were brown. So in 1941, Russia and England invaded in a joint operation. The Iranian military, for its part, absolutely melted before the war-hardened and entirely unprovoked invading force.
An unprovoked and unsupported attack on a Middle Eastern nation by a coalition of the willing on spurious pretenses? What? I'm sure glad we took the whole doomed to repeat itself adage seriously. That's
Strap the fuck in, Tom. So
I think it was Carlos Santana, the guitarist, who said that.
So, upon seeing how poorly their army fared, the nation's top generals realized that they were going to have to surrender, but nobody had the guts to talk to the Shah about it. So instead, they summoned his son, the crown prince, and discussed how to go about waving the white flag. But when Dad heard about that shit, he flipped out and he attacked the general that he thought was behind all of it. And I mean physically attacked. Attacked the dude with a riding crop and not in a sexy way.
Good clarification.
Yeah, thank you. Then he stripped the dude of his
Not in a
medals,
sexy way.
and not in a sexy way, and very nearly personally executed him, also not in a sexy way, before relenting to pressure to have somebody else shoot him in the back of the head instead, like,
Sexually?
civilized way.
No, not
Sexually.
Okay, I got it. Got it.
Sexually.
Following along. Sex-wise. Okay, getting beat with a riding crop by a Shah, I feel like that's got to be kind of tricky. Like a fine line of letting him win, but not too hard, because then you know you're letting him win.
Yeah, uh-huh.
You got to be like medium getting beat up by a riding crop, just right.
The poor guy was just confusedly yelling out his safe word the whole time, like, pomegranate, damn it. I said pomegranate.
So, upon hearing about that, the Anglo-Russian force decided that the Shah would probably be a hard guy to work with, so they forced him to abdicate. He would be sent into exile in South Africa, where he would die only a few years later. But the coalition believed his son Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, a kind of dithering, unassuming, Western-educated, weak-willed 22-year-old, would be a perfectly pliant puppet. So they allowed him to assume the throne, but of course, this was like a hurried and tainted way to rise to power, so there was no lavish coronation ceremony. A fact that would bother him for decades to come.
Didn't even get one of those Jostin class rings, man. It's stupid.
Why did they have a monopoly on that shit?
I don't know. Yeah. Now,
You want to start a class ring company, or you want to kill ourselves? One family has said
One vote
the
for a
first
class
guy.
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone else has been like, pip.
Yeah. Now, ultimately, two obsessions would rise from the way he came to power. One was a lasting desire to have some kind of over-the-top giant party celebrating him that's, filled with foreign dignitaries and royalty and shit. The other was making sure his military would be strong enough not to crumble in the face of an invading Western force next time. And both of those obsessions would work together to cost him his throne. The latter far more than the former, of course, because armies cost a lot of ongoing money.
Okay, guys, hear me out here. All right, we're buying missiles, and you're going to love this one, gold-plated solo cups for the party. It's going to be a fucking rager.
It's the best.
Rager.
Fancy flip cup.
So now, I should also point out that over the first few decades of his reign, the Shah's foreign puppet master kind of shifted from England to America. So after the Second World War, the UK and the USSR were not in joint control of a goddamn thing. The Middle East was more or less carved up between them with very little thought as to the independence or desires of anybody who actually lived there. England ended up with Iran in the divorce, which meant that British oil companies ended up with Iran.
Everyone's shifting back and forth uncomfortably, like every team that was forced to eventually pick me and kick Paul. Just, we can play with the odd man. We can play with that. No, all right, he's coming.
Okay,
And
but you
he's
were an
crying.
untapped resource, it turns out, in
Well,
this
yeah,
metaphor.
as it happens, a lot of oil. So the British control of Iranian
Crying.
oil fields came to an abrupt. So the British control of Iranian oil fields came to an abrupt but temporary halt in 1953 when the Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, decided to nationalize those oil fields and just keep the country's enormous mineral wealth for himself. Now, England, of course, said no. But in 1953, England wasn't really in any place to enforce their no. So instead, they turned to their good buddy America and said, wow, nationalizing oil fields, that sounds like a precursor to communism, doesn't it? Now, that convinced the CIA to plan, finance, and execute a coup that would remove Mossadegh from office. And it's worth noting that during this coup, the Shah went on vacation. And he came back after it was clear that everything worked out for his side. So at this point, it was clear to everybody, including average Joe Iranian, that their national leader was serving at the pleasure of the U.S. president.
I don't want to make you upset, United States, but a country on the other side of the world is considering a social safety net, so you might want to do something about that.
Yep.
And that's when the U.S. stepped in, and the Middle East has been at peace ever since. Checkmate, liberal historians.
Haven't even gotten a thank you. Yeah. Now, of course, even with the nationalization effort thwarted, the Western powers realized they were going to have to cut Iran in on a bigger slice of the petroleum pie.
State control of their own natural resources? Not on my watch. Bald eagles assemble.
Yeah, right. The anti-Captain Planet steps in. Yeah.
Grab some
Now,
intel, though. Let's grab 10% of intel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a golden shit.
So credit where credit is due. In the years following this coup, the Shah actually pulled off a few very clever moves to manipulate the price of oil to drive that up while shirking the blame onto all his Arabic neighbors. Right. So the end result was that the nation was suddenly rolling in newfound wealth.
And you're back to being a good government again. Funny how that works, right? We found it.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
don't do an OPEC soon. Don't do that.
Yeah, right. Well, that's basically
We'll
all it
get
took.
super mad.
But like all suddenly rich autocracies, the wealth was spectacularly top heavy in Iran. All the money was concentrated in the cities. So people from the countryside flocked there looking for work. But since they all kind of flocked at the same time, there was a glut of labor, which meant that even if you could find a job, it was likely to pay jack shit. Which meant that even aside from the endemic corruption, money was concentrating ever more at the very top. And that means that you increasingly had desperate poor masses butting right up against homes with fucking stairways cut from solid crystal and shit.
Which in turn makes the crystal smudgy. What Noah is saying is that it's bad for everybody when poor people are alive, you know?
Jesus, who the fuck am I, Brian Kilmeade? No.
Just describing capitalism. You have to describe it sometimes.
God.
But nowhere was the nation's profligacy more apparent than in its military. Stung with the humiliation of the nation's almost uncontested invasion in 1941, the Shah was downright pathological about making sure that he had the biggest, baddest military in the region. And since he was pretty adept at tricking the Americans into thinking a Russian invasion was perpetually right around the corner, which was a really easy thing to convince Americans of at the time, America made pretty much everything in its non-nuclear arsenal available for purchase.
This historical moment brought to you by Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
Lockheed Martin. When the world loses, we win.
Yeah. So the end result is that Iran bought weapons and weapon systems like a kid buying candy. They perpetually had like more fighter jets than they had qualified pilots. Right? They would buy whole systems that they had to like immediately mothball because they didn't have the personnel required to assemble them, let alone operate them.
All their jets have that grandma plastic couch covering on them. They're just
No, they did.
Yeah.
Though. They did.
It's a JD Vance condom.
Bunch of guys sitting cross-legged on the living room floor with like a hex key and fighter jet parts all over the living room.
Yeah,
like,
right.
oh, I told you we should have called your dad.
It says Titan Flugen with star. What? I don't know what any of that is. We have a hex.
All I
There's
know
a
is
star
Titan.
hex.
I just
What
know
the-
Titan. Now, I
They have a
should say that.
customer service.
Now, I should say that the Shah's shitty reputation within his country wasn't just due to his wasteful spending. Sure, you don't endear a lot of people to you by pissing away millions on giant statues of yourself while the nation's vital infrastructure is falling apart. But
Take
he
notes.
also, yeah,
Take notes.
but he also had an abysmal human rights record that included arbitrary arrests, kidnappings, barbaric interrogation practices, summary executions, and other shit that America now freely does, making this really awkward to condemn. So, but it needs to be said that like he was a really shitty human being, in addition to being a very incompetent one.
so many glass houses. I'm not sure which one to aim at, guys.
One of the not American ones, Cecil.
Yes, thank you.
Obviously. Now, of course, even an incompetent leader can earn the love of his people when things are going well. And for a decade or so, things actually were doing very well in Iran. The average citizen could see marked improvements in roads and electricity and shit, and they could see that the nation was modernizing, even if they weren't like actually benefiting from it themselves, right? There's just something about seeing more paved roads with more cars on them that makes everybody feel like things are looking up for the country.
We hear. None of us were alive when that was a thing, but like we hear.
No, I was like in the 80s. Like I remember the 80s. But and I'm kidding. I would lived in Detroit in the 80s. And I don't remember. No, but over time.
road over my house.
But over time, the combination of gushers of money,
Caliente.
yeah, right? Terrible fiscal policy and top-heavy corruption led to basically all the bad economic outcomes at once.
Just squirting
You've got
coins. Just
inflation. You've got like inflation, high unemployment, high crime, stagnant wages, plus an ever-increasing mass of young, unemployed men living in slums at the outskirts of the city and watching other motherfuckers have all the trappings of wealth.
Again, please take notes. Somebody should take notes. I feel like there should be notes.
Repeats itself. So this led to an inevitable dissatisfaction with the nation's leader. And since Iran had one-man rule, all the blame fell on the shoulders of the Shah. But no worries. He knew exactly how to win over the destitute and disaffected subjects by throwing himself a lavish party that cost about 2% of the country's entire GDP for that year.
Fuck. Oof. All right. Well, stagflation, wealth inequality, angry young men. That sounds fucking bad. Somebody should take notes. I feel like that's a good thing to. Where the fuck is our lavish party? Where's our lavish party?
Well, they're building a banquet hall onto the White House as we speak.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll find out where our fucking lavish party is after a quick break for Smava Povna. Hey, Shah, you in here?
Hey, Abdul. How's it going?
I mean, it's okay. Everyone was looking for you, and are you okay? Like, are you not enjoying your party?
No, it's fine. I just, can I be honest? I feel like the vibe is off slightly.
I mean, there was just that bloody revolution and coup. A lot of people tied up in that.
Yeah, so was I. Like, I'm the Shah, but I put that aside to show up, like emotionally for my party. And I feel like nobody else did. And I don't.
Right. Just a lot of people lost family members.
So did I.
I mean, you executed some of your family members.
Which I would argue is as hard, if not harder.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell you what, why don't you come out? We're going to do cake and we're going to sing. You'll feel way better.
Are you guys going to do that thing where you turn out the lights and then at first everybody's like, whoa, what's happening? The lights go out. And then my favorite person like slowly walks in with the candles.
I mean, I thought we could just like go ahead and do it. Yeah, no, it was the plant with the candle thing. You said.
Nice.
No way, do it again.
No.
Amazing.
Hey guys, are you ready to restart the show?
Okay, in a second, Heath is showing us this amazing trick.
Yeah, so when I don't want to do something, I just say no to it.
Just like that. He just says no to it.
Yeah.
But what if someone doesn't like you after?
Well, turns out that's both unknowable and kind of none of my business.
Wow. Where did you learn this?
From Mint Mobile.
Okay, what's Mint Mobile?
At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no coverages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month.
$15 a month. What's the catch?
No catch. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Plus, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts.
I don't know, Heath. Have you actually tried it?
I sure have. I switched to Mint Mobile when they became a sponsor, and now I get the same great coverage for a fraction of the price.
All right, Heath, I'm sold. Where do I sign up?
Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/citation. That's mintmobile.com/citation. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited new time customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right, Heath. Thanks.
All right. You guys ready to record?
No.
Classic.
No, seriously, I got to shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you
Yeah, no, if you
Yeah, I mean, you gotta.
And we're back. When we left off, the Nepo baby despot was about to throw himself a party. That's cool. What's next?
Yeah, right. So the whole point of this exercise is to soothe the Shah's ego at not having had a coronation fit for the very important king that he so clearly was. So he wanted a party that would serve to highlight his grandiosity. He also wanted to bolster the legitimacy of his rule by tying himself to Cyrus the Great and presenting his reign as just like, the latest in a 2,500 year of unbroken kingship, which it fucking wasn't. At the same time, he wanted to recast Iran in the Western eye as a fully modern nation that could compete with any European country when it came to throwing a classy shindig.
Yeah, what a huge waste. Nowadays, we just let you host the World Cup. It's all done.
Yeah, it's about the same price. Yeah,
FIFA really needs to make some demands, some funny demands on Trump. I don't know, Trump in a claw machine, and then I guess pull out of the U.S. either way for the World Cup. But
right, for human rights things. Yeah,
maybe get him in a claw machine.
So now the first thing he needed was an occasion to celebrate. So he manufactures this 2500th anniversary of the Persian Empire. It's about right. Maybe now. The reign of Cyrus kicked off the Achaemenid Persian Empire on or about 550 BCE, but it could have been exactly 529 BCE. And the empire may have started on or about October 12th through the 14th. So there you go. So with those as his working assumptions, the Shah declared that the country would celebrate its 2500 centennial or whatever in 1971. And quick before anybody had time to plan anything, he sent out invitation to world leaders across the globe.
Hey, we got this gigantic stone tablet in this envelope from Iran today. Were you expecting something?
Oh, shit. Yeah. The Shah mentioned something. Let's just go ahead and send him a fighter jet or something. We'll pretend we're sick the night before. It's fine.
Just RSVP. No, I don't want to.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Use the
listening to the
SASE.
ad. Yeah. So the invitation, which was apparently made without consulting literally anybody who would eventually be involved in the planning, contained only two pieces of information, both of which would prove nightmares to the planners. The first was the date, which would give them less than a year to pull off the most extravagant party ever thrown. The other was the location. The party was to take place in Persepolis, which is a ruin said to hold the remains of Cyrus the Great. But there's no city there. It's just a fucking ruin in the desert. There's no infrastructure. There's no running water. There's not even a paved road that leads to it. The only thing there, other than the dubiously attributed ruins, were a shockingly dense population of venomous everythings, including spiders, scorpions, and snakes. So once the date and location are locked in, the Shah sets about getting this thing organized. First things first, they have to kill everything that lives there. So they have this massive campaign of poisoning and removing everything within a dozen miles of the ruins. This happens at the same time that they're building a 450-mile road from Tehran to this fucking random spot in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, guys, I know we're out here in the desert building this road, but do not drink any of the Gatorades you see lying around. Those are, unfortunately and ironically, scorpion poison. So
Why is the poison frost blue, though?
that is in case any of us are cops.
Yeah.
What if it's more than 12? What if a spider runs outside of the 12 miles? We just let it go?
Gotta let it go. Gotta drop that one.
So, but once they've got a road and a reasonable expectation to walk in 20 yards without being bitten by a fucking cobra or something, they set about building an airstrip, which they're then going to use to fly in all the prefabricated tents that are going to make up the tent city that they're going to host the party in. And much to the consternation of Iranian craftsmen who would have loved the concession on this shit, the Shah instead turned to French architects and interior decorators to design and build the 50 fucking tent suites and the main building, a tent banquet hall measuring 68 by 24 meters or about 220 by 80 feet. And all the other ancillary dwellings that they built as well, right, that they needed for the staff, those were also going to be constructed in France and then put together in Iran. In all, the tent city took a year to build and it used 37 kilometers of silk. Although the source I saw didn't say 37 kilometers by anything. So I have no idea how much silk we're talking
This is
about.
a really long strand.
Yeah, one thread.
Right, exactly. Right. It doesn't seem excessive, though, to have silk walls, regardless of how much or little you use of it.
That was still a really hard day for the Iranian owner of Domes, though.
Right. Yeah, when that came down
that
the
one
pipe.
burned.
Now, you might be thinking, wow, I bet it would be really hot in a fucking tent in the middle of the Iranian desert. And you would be right. It was over 100 degrees every day, even in mid-October. And it was also cold as fuck because it would dip down to like 30 degrees overnight, which meant that in a country where only about 1 in 4 homes had a refrigerator,
Jesus Christ.
the government was spending millions of dollars to air condition and heat tents in the middle of the desert that would only ever be used for 3 fucking days.
Oh, back then we used to do that for people. Now we just do that for cryptocurrency.
You'll see, Cecil. I bought my apes on the bounce.
There you go.
That's-
Yeah, this is the first time in history when you could tie up your entire retirement portfolio buying commodified irony, but I guess it's going to turn out awesome. It'll probably turn out awesome.
No, it'd be great.
It's a derivative of irony.
Now, of course, just air conditioning the tents wouldn't be enough, right? The Shah didn't want his guests to have to stay inside for 3 full days. He also wanted them to add a forest next to
Sure.
the tent city.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Now, you can't exactly grow a forest in a fucking desert in any length of time, let alone the 1 year that they had to work with. So what they did is they just flew in a fuck ton of trees and propped them up in the sand.
Come on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well, and to make sure that the forest
They're all
sounded
leaning
good,
against each other like Barry and Jelly.
really, right?
Don't touch any of them. Don't touch any of
Do
them. They'll
not
tip
sneeze. Do not
You
sneeze.
know they all fell like dominoes a bunch of times, and they were so
Right,
mad.
as they're setting them up, right? Well, it gets so much fucking worse because to make sure that their forest sounded good and foresty, they also flew in about 50,000 European songbirds.
Oh,
Yeah, to live in the desert. Both the trees and birds would be dead within a few days of the party
Aw.
wrapping up.
Okay, the weird part is they actually executed the birds for treason.
Okay, some airport in Europe somewhere watched a team of the Iranian Shah's royal party planners load up an airplane with like 5,000 songbirds in a bag or a cage, and then they like strapped a few loose trees on top of the airplane, and we're like, yeah, that'll hold. Off to Persepolis, we're good to go. What the fuck is happening?
Okay, so and of course, much like the architecture, the
Clark
Shah-
Griswold planet.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, down to the tree and
We're
down
gonna
to the
put that
trees.
forest, Clark.
Yeah. So now,
Thanks
much
for
like
coming
the
to my
architecture-
party. Everybody gets a Jelly of the Month club.
Bend over and I'll
Well, okay, so much like the architecture, the Shah also turned to France for the catering. At that time, Maxim's in Paris was generally considered to be the world's best restaurant, so the Shah had them take care of his party. It was such a big deal that they literally they closed the entire restaurant for 2 weeks in advance of it, and they flew their whole kitchen staff and much of their wait staff to Iran to live in air-conditioned desert tents. They also flew in a kitchen that, according to later accounts from the chefs, rivaled any kitchen in the world.
Yeah, still the only kitchen that was actually hotter to work in than the actual Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely had the most scorpion poison.
For sure. Now, they also flew all the food in from France, or virtually all the food, and to a point where it was ridiculous, right? Like, I feel like they could have used Iranian parsley and chives without compromising on taste at all, but they didn't. Other than the caviar, every bit of the food was flown in. And we're talking about enough food for like 500 guests to feast like kings for 3 days. So that included 6,000 pounds of beef, pork, and lamb, and nearly 3,000 pounds of fowl and game, which, of course, had to be kept frozen in the desert. They also had to build a special wine cellar for the 2,500 bottles of wine that they shipped in.
make sure you ship in a ton of desserts, or these let them eat cake shirts are just not going to make any sense at all. It's gonna be stupid.
Okay, the wine number feels low.
Does
right?
feel low. I'm with you. It feels
Yeah.
low.
That doesn't
500
include
people.
the
That's like
champagne.
5 bottles of per. Oh, okay, man.
Yep.
Still
Yeah, it
feels
doesn't include
low.
the champagne. So it's it's a 3-day party. So okay, it's also worth emphasizing here that the Shah, who had fuck all for experience planning large events or small ones, really, was hands-on with everything in this shit. So much that several of his planners had quit or been fired along the way. Eventually, he got this one like overtaxed subordinate that handled all of his shit, handling this party too. And this is a guy who knows even less about event planning than he does. And at some point along the way, he also brings his wife in on it.
You're always saying how I spend too much time at work. I thought you'd be happy.
Honey, if we do a good job at this, they're going to let us plan Woodstock 99 and Fire Festival. We're going to be legends.
No, okay. So his wife has at least a somewhat better grip on the mood of the nation than the Shah. And she recognizes that this whole thing is a fucking PR disaster waiting to happen.
Got to get so much more wine. So much more.
Yes. The real problem was the coffee, man. They only had the ability to make 2 cups of coffee at a time.
I'm furious. Well, you're the Shah. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, no, that was the real
skimping
problem.
out on all the important shit at this party.
Yeah. So, okay, but the Shah's wife is sure that the Iranian people are going to be furious with all the money that's being pissed away on a vanity project for their ruler. And the fact that the people profiting from it are mostly foreign companies is going to add insult to injury. So she does everything that she can late in the game to add in some shit that might offset that. Right, like, so she lobbies her husband to open 2,500 new schools across the country in conjunction with the 2,500th anniversary celebration. She also organized a concurrent academic symposium that was meant to highlight Persian contributions to the arts and sciences, but all of that shit was too little too late. By the time she got involved, it was pretty much guaranteed that all the headlines about this shit the world over were going to be, look how much fucking money they spent on their tent party.
But who gave you the 0 to add to the end of that bill? That's
Yeah, right, yeah.
The Islamic world, that's who, not Persian specific, but you know, you don't know the difference.
But the Shah remained unconcerned about the optics, about the relevant optics. He was obsessed with which world leaders would and wouldn't attend for like the whole year. And he spent an absurd amount of time arguing with people about like fucking seating charts and shit. He was also like perpetually pissy for like 6 months over the fact that the 3 world leaders he most wanted at his party had turned him down. U.S. President Richard Nixon sent his vice president in his stead, which is a fact that would have been insulting even if that Veep wasn't Spiro Agnew. The Queen of England
Just
snubbed him
JD Vance
even
trying
harder.
to fuck a jet. He's just like,
Yeah, right.
Come here.
So the Queen of England snubbed him even harder and sent her fucking husband, what's his name? And the worst snub of all, I have no fucking idea. But the worst snub of all, though, came from the lowest name on the list. That was the president of France. But his snub hurt all the worse, since at first he agreed to come, but then he found out that he wouldn't be sitting at the spot closest to the Shah. That spot was reserved for Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie. So he changed his mind and canceled last minute. But they did manage to fill up their guest lists. And upon arrival, those guests would be whisked from the new airport to the tent city in one of 250 red Mercedes limousines, where they would be shown to their luxury apartments with silk walls. Each of the apartments had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, an office, and a lavishly furnished living space that could accommodate about a dozen people. There was also, for each world leader, there was a tapestry with a picture of them woven into it, hanging on the wall as like a take-home gift.
Just a bunch of world leaders throwing this tapestry into their tapestry pile in their closet when they get home. Whatever,
Right,
man.
yeah.
Okay, question. Was it a take-home gift like it was free, or did they charge you for them at the end, like with the robes at the hotel?
No word on that.
Do
Yeah.
they charge you for that?
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick note on an apartment made entirely with silk walls. Everyone can hear everyone else shitting.
Thank you. They keep talking about that like it's a big. That's terrible. That's a terrible idea. You can smell, taste, and kind of
Okay.
see everyone shitting.
Yeah, so it's so dumb. I'm underselling how stupid this is. They're actually like wooden structures. They're like full buildings, but then they just put silk all over the walls to make it look like a tent.
Okay, that's
It's
that's
so
better.
much-
It's better. It's better.
But it's so much more wasteful than I'm making it sound. So, okay.
Well, they
so,
had plenty of wood from the nearby forest. I think you're forgetting.
I bet they did the shitting shadow puppets for like an afternoon, and they were like, okay,
no,
drywall underneath, drywall underneath.
we're gonna have to do drywall.
Iranian Heath, you were right. Okay, you were right.
Thank you.
So the Shah, who had humbly bestowed upon himself the titles of Shahanshah, King of Kings, Light of the Aryans, Shadow of the Almighty, opened up the festivities with a speech at the tomb of Cyrus, and his opening would be lambasted forever in Iran. So I might as well just quote it here. Quote, Cyrus, great king, king of kings, you immortal hero of history, father of the world's most ancient empire, great liberator of all time, worthy son of
Oh
mankind.
my God. Did I write this?
Right?
This is terrible.
After After 2,500 years, the Persian flag waves as proudly as in your era of glory. Today, as in your day, Persia bears the message of liberty and love of mankind in a troubled world. Cyrus, great king of kings, you may rest in peace, for we are awake and will remain so forever. End quote.
Still not as cringy as what Kash Patel said about Charlie Kirk. I know it was bad at the time. But
So it's that last line about how Cyrus can sleep easy knowing that the Shah is on the job that would be so mercilessly lampooned as his rule spiraled into disaster over the coming decade. But before any of that could happen, they had to set a Guinness-recognized world record for the longest and most lavish official banquet in modern history. I have no idea what unit one measures lavishness in, but apparently the folks at Guinness puzzled it out. After that, they had a huge parade that highlighted Iranian history, though the Shah managed to further piss off the masses by skipping over the parts where the country adopted the Islamic faith.
Okay, but to be fair, they had planned to march a bunch of Muhammad lookalikes in the parade, but and I think got shut down very quickly.
Yeah, no, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. Now, the actual cost of the whole party is actually impossible to pin down. The official price tag was $17 million, which is just ridiculously low. According to the wiki, quote, the actual figure is difficult to calculate exactly as the government is embarrassed when asked to estimate the overall cost, end quote. When a BBC documentary tried to suss it out, the number they came up with was $120 million, or the equivalent of about $1 billion in today's money. But even that cost is low, especially when you consider that he paid for the optics when he was chased out of the country by his impoverished subjects less than a decade later.
All right. If you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, what would it be?
If you pronounce Iran correctly, you fuck up a lot of potential Iran jokes.
And are you ready for the quiz?
Iran here to be here on time. Fuck. No, yeah, I am.
Okay, Noah, what was the most expensive thing they served for dinner? A, la vichyssoise. B, pad tycoon. C, fat catfish. Or D, loaded baked potato.
La Vichyssoise is yeah, La Vichyssoise is fantastic.
I'm gonna go with A just because of the tone that you sort of have like admitted to that one in. I think that was the best part.
One in, yeah. Okay, it's fair. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
All right, Noah. Throwing a huge expensive birthday party for your nation with parades and shit that doubles as an excuse for your dear leader to chest thump and celebrate himself is A, obviously the prerogative of insecure tyrants.
God damn it.
B, well, this is awkward.
I quit the country.
C, that's okay. Empires never collapse under the weight of autocratic mismanagement. D, still awkward. This feels still awkward.
Secret answer C.5. At least when they crumble, they never turn into theocratic hellscapes that people can't escape from for a half a century after.
You got
Crushing it. No notes.
All right, Noah. Obviously, air-conditioned tents and scorpion poison drove the price up, but what really cost the most from this party? A, the chocolate fountain. B, seriously, I couldn't believe how expensive a chocolate fountain was when I had one at my wedding. See, it was like 2 layers, and all the stuff it came with was super basic. Still,
it wasn't even that great of a chocolate fountain.
Really
Yeah, it was so
mediocre.
Yeah. No, yeah, secret answer D. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put the money into water. We all got fucking wasted. There was no water.
There wasn't water.
All right. Well, Noah, you aced the quiz. You are the winner.
Oh, awesome. Well, I would like a Tom essay next week.
All right. Well, for Tom, Cecil, Noah, and Eli, I'm Heath. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week, and Tom will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can listen to Cognitive Dissonance, The No Rogan Experience, Dear Old Dads, God Awful Movies, The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, and D&D Minus. And if you'd like to join the ranks of our beloved patrons, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, listen to past episodes, connect with us on social media, or take a look at the show notes, check out citationpod.com.
Abdu Hakim, you are sentenced to death for the great and treacherous crime of insult to our amazing Shah. For doing that fake version of the birthday song they do at TGI Fridays.
This feels like an overreaction.
I don't think so.